What's up, you guys? Welcome down to the newest YouTube video. I'm going to be answering some of your questions. Big thank you to everyone who engaged with my post and answered the questions. I appreciate you all. I'm going to try and answer as many as I can. There weren't a lot of questions, but there were some that were really engaging, and I'm going to try my best. Get comfortable and let's get right into the questions. All right, we're going to start with one of my most frequently asked questions, and that is, which camera do you use to shoot your vlogs? I use an iPhone 14 Pro and I edit on my handy dandy iPad, and that's pretty much it. All of the gear that I use to shoot is my iPhone, my iPad, I use a mic now, and my tripod. That's pretty much all you need. I'm talking about softwares that I use to edit. I use CapCut Pro. Even thumbnails, I do it on the CapCut app. And I use Epidemic Sound. Royalty-free music is essential if you want to get your channel monetized and actually start making money off of this. Those are, in a nutshell, all of the tools that I use. All right, second question is kind of tied into the first question. How do you shoot and edit? I love this question because it's kind of a process that I haven't really wrapped my head around yet either. I'll have a general idea of what the theme will be. I'm not going to script anything out. Full disclosure, I actually struggle with scripting. Even when I work with brands, it's hard for me to script it out and then follow the script. My process is that I usually have an idea and I go out into the wild and I shoot. And then with whatever footage that I have, I build a story around it. I get that this is not the most common thing. Everyone recommend storyboarding, scripting, all of that stuff so you don't miss out on anything. And yes, 100%, but I find that a bit restrictive. So first I shoot, then in hindsight, I look at all the content and I come up with the story. This works for me because most of my content is storytelling kind of content. Even with editing, I am heavily inspired by the music that I pick. So that's why I use Epidemic Sound to get good royalty-free music. And then once I hear the track, I kind of figure out how I want to edit. But that's generally the process. When it comes to shooting, this is not my first rodeo. Like, I've been making content for brands and for myself personally for years now. So I kind of have an idea of how to shoot. And most of this came by watching people like Peter McKinnon. Cyril Amor was a huge inspiration for me to start taking pictures for Instagram, and even her style of videos that she did. Even just if it was talking, she's changed locations multiple times and it was so engaging to watch. So those people were my inspirations, and this is way back when. What I would recommend you do is watch cinematic videos and try to just copy. You learn by doing. The more videos you make, the more things you shoot and create, the more repetitions you're getting in to get better at this. Okay, next question. Okay, so we've got a relationship question up next. What do you do if the one you love has someone else? Short and sweet. If the one you love has someone else, they're not the one for you. And I know it can be very hard to come to terms with that. And honestly, I've had to deal with that a couple of times. Maybe not with the one I love having someone else, but the one you love not being able to choose you. That's real. And that is painful. At the end of the day, you need to choose yourself. It's interesting because for a long time, I didn't know what choosing myself looked like. And I had to go through years of trying to figure out what it means to choose myself. Because if you choose yourself first, you're kind of giving people an idea of how it looks like to honor, respect, love you. For me personally, what this would look like is putting myself first. It looked like I was selfish. That can be a thing, but it's not selfish to choose yourself. Filling your cup first is so important, because if it's not full, how are you going to pour out? If you're in a space where you are single, I would highly recommend taking time to get to know yourself. Know what you like, know what ticks you off, and set boundaries. This is okay for me. This is how you approach me. X, Y, and Z behavior, I don't tolerate. And not to be angry about it either, but just to be like, this scenario just doesn't align with me. And even if you are in a situation where someone you love has someone else, to simplify it as much as possible, let them go. If someone else can have that person's heart that easily, you deserve better. If what you want is someone to have and love and hold only you, which I think everybody wants, right? Everybody wants loyalty. Everyone wants faithfulness. That's not a big ask. That's like the bare minimum. That's the basics. And if you can't be loyal or faithful, you shouldn't be in a relationship. And if you find that that person is in that place where they can't be faithful, or they just want to play the field, or they just want to have multiple options, wish them well, and move on with your life because you deserve better. Okay, next question. So the next two questions are going to be tied in together. The first one is, what do you do for a living? Good question. So, story time. For 10 years, I was in the advertising field as a graphic designer. I had the title of creative director, but I felt 100% imposter syndrome under that title because I don't think I reached my full potential or even like a smidge of potential. That was just a title they'd given me. So I don't really identify with the title of a creative director, but that was my job role. Apart from that, I also have been a singer for the longest time, maybe since 2009. I have been singing commercially. Later on, maybe 2016, 2017, I got into influencing and content creation. Those are the three main things that I do, but I've also done modeling on the side, did quite a few of those. Did one TV commercial, did a really good one for Mars, something for Lakme, if I'm not mistaken. So I've had some exposure into that industry as well. I don't do that so much anymore. Those are the things that I do for work. A big advice I could give is not to lock yourself into one thing and to work on having multiple streams of income. The goal is not to have the most amount of money, but that being said, having money gives you freedom to live the life that you want and freedom with your time. And I think that truly is priceless. Yes, I do work a lot, I do multiple things, but also I have the freedom to choose the things that I want to do. And the things, like example, starting YouTube was purely just a passion project. It was just like a goal that I had given myself for this year, and I just started, and now we're almost hitting 7,000 subscribers within like a couple of months, and the channel's been monetized and stuff like that. It's crazy. I'm just doing this because I want to, and now I have the time. That's pretty amazing. Even the traveling, I make some travel content and I'd like to get into it more, but 5, 6, maybe even 10 years ago, I used to go on Pinterest and just look at all these beautiful destinations and think, damn, I would love to travel someday. I would love to see the world. And little by little, I'm kind of doing it. And at the time, it was only wishful thinking, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Okay, next, I have a couple of questions related to finances. First one, how do you manage your financial side with all your expenses? This is a great question. I love this because couple of years ago, I had nothing. I was just living from paycheck to paycheck and I had no savings. And now I have savings, I have some investments. So, how I look at finances and how to get good at it, I think, in a nutshell, is purely to be disciplined. Spend with money that you actually have, no credit cards, no borrowing. If you have to borrow, you can't afford it. Just don't do that. Have enough patience to save for what you really want to buy. Those are things that I lived by. Like initially, I wanted an iPhone. I didn't have an iPhone, I had a regular phone, and it was a big dream of mine to buy an iPhone. I guess, I don't know, I guess people can resonate with that, right? It just seems out of your reach because it's a big spend. I remember I went all over the place trying to get a credit card, trying to borrow money and be like, listen, I don't have a credit card, but you give me the money, I'll pay you. Like all kinds of shit just to get this iPhone. And I stopped myself and I decided to play the long game and save for it. And that means sacrifice, okay? That means I wait with my shitty phone for like another 6 months to a year trying to save money for this phone. But when I get that phone, it's completely mine. I've already paid it off. I don't have to worry about paying anything else. And I want that kind of stress-free life. Another piece of financial advice that I follow and I'll try to and mostly live by is, if you can't buy a thing 3 times, it's too expensive for you. Keeping that also in mind, I try to plan all of my big spends accordingly. I'm going to give you guys some practical ways that I save. So I don't get a bulk payment anymore because I don't do a job. I get multiple payments throughout the month because I'm a freelancer. Every payment that I get, I do my 10% for church, X percentage goes into savings, and X percentage goes into my rent fund. I'm building up a 6-month bank of my rent plus expenses, and I'm building up another separate fund for general expenses. This could be anything from a trip to if someone in my family gets sick or some kind of an expense pops up. I have those. So every single time I get a payment, I first of all put away These three things are super important to me, and I only use what I have left. Initially, that's a bit difficult because you don't have a lot of reserve, you know what I mean? But if you start small, the bank grows up. You'll discipline yourself enough to, first of all, put away what needs to be put away for your future and then live on the rest. This is a topic that I really think is so important and not talked about enough. And I don't do any crazy things. It's like very basic things, but I'd love to share on that. If you guys are keen, please drop a money emoji in the comments, and I will try and script that out and expand on it, because it's something that I feel has changed my quality of life so much just by disciplining myself with my finances. It has changed my life in the last maybe 5 years. Next question. I love this question. How do you stay consistent and confident? So let me start with some history. People find it crazy, amazing because I am confident because I'm fat. Okay, the F word is not a bad word, it's like just an adjective. Okay, I was way bigger than this at one point. If you guys look at my older videos, you will see pictures because I exposed myself like that. Even then, I thought I was the shit. I thought I was so good looking. I saw something in myself that I think a lot of people did not. And I think that's the key. Seeing yourself in a positive light matters way more than the way other people see you. So, one of the things that I really work on is the way I see myself. What do I look in the mirror and say to her? Honestly, I tell her she's beautiful, she's so sexy, her hair is gorgeous. Like, tell yourself, do you guys do that? I don't care, even if you're a guy, like, look at yourself and tell yourself all the good things, because your internal dialogue, the way you speak to yourself, is something that people really underestimate. You don't realize subconsciously, sometimes you might be like, God, you're so ugly. Ugh, your eyebrows suck. Like, God, I wish I had that person's body or this person's body. Or like, I wish I was XYZ, whatever. The things we tell ourselves are so subconscious and we don't even realize we're doing it. And then later we wonder why the hell we have such a negative image of ourselves, because subconsciously you're talking to yourself like that. Like, do an audit of your thoughts and see, like, how do you talk to yourself? It matters. I try to be really kind to myself, except when I'm in the gym. I'm like, just it. Don't be a you weak little, you know. That's, I think, is okay. I'm encouraging her, and that works for me. But the way you talk to yourself really, really, really matters. That's part one. Part two of being confident, I think there's really, really no way around it. One of the quickest ways to get confident is by doing a hard thing repeatedly. Do something that is hard for you, it is a challenge for you. Do it repeatedly, consistently, and watch yourself get better at it. That is gonna skyrocket your confidence. This is with regards to studies, solving problems, doing a piece of music over and over again, going to the gym, training till failure, being able to lift more than you could lift a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, training for a marathon, noticing that you can run for longer without fatiguing out, seeing your body and your mind improve through the hard work that you're putting in. That changes your brain chemistry and just forges resolve. It is one of the best ways, the quickest ways to gain confidence. And I think because of my whole weight loss journey, because I know I've put in the work, aesthetically, I know there are some limitations because of my lipedema and whatever, but I know I've put in the repetitions, I've worked hard, I've lost so much weight. I know I can be consistent. And I know that I'm not a weak little bitch by doing this over many, many times. Even once I've lost weight and then given up and gained all the weight, I know I have this crazy confidence that even if I gain weight again, I lose it. Like, I know myself. I know that girl. She's not a quitter. Same thing in relationships. Sometimes when you get hurt in relationships, you can think like, yeah, hell no, I'm never doing that again. I'm just going to build a wall around myself and live alone. I've been in and out of that place. If you close your fist and live with a closed fist, like, I'm not going to let anyone take whatever's in my hand, nothing can also come into your hand. So you need to open. Yes, this might get taken, but more might be added. Does that make sense? I like to remind myself to live with an open fist now more often than ever. And I take every failure as a lesson because I've failed a million times. Trust me. When it comes to finances, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to relationships and love, I have failed a billion times. But I think I just didn't give up. I just kept having faith in God and knowing that I can see this through. Especially during lockdown, I think I went through a really difficult time. And it was a time when everyone was like going through stuff, but emotionally, it really took a huge toll on me. I remember sitting on this couch actually and crying and just thinking, it's okay. Tomorrow will be better. You'll get through this. Just breathe, just get through the day. It's not the end of the world. And like that, week down the line, month down the line, things turn around. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. Even your shitty mood, shitty circumstances, not even the good things last. So when you realize that not even the good things last, when good things happen, you're like, this is great. I appreciate the goodness that has come into my life. But if and when it turns around, I'm prepared. I'm prepared. You forge this resolve. And you can only do that by living your life. So don't shy away from it. Embrace every experience. Did I answer the question? I don't know. I ranted. Okay, next question. I think I already answered a bit of the second question as well. How did you land on what you're doing today for a living? Have you ever failed at something? And if so, how did you shape your life to be the life that you're living today? Yes, of course, I've failed at many things. I tried to start a t-shirt business just before the lockdown, I think. I did one round of prints. I got quite a few responses saying people were not that happy with the print, but it was really difficult for me alone to like find suppliers and stuff like that, and I didn't have enough know-how and stuff. So I tried that, I gave it up. And when you start businesses, a lot comes with failing, and that failure can keep you stagnant, or you can keep trying. Most of the time, the success stories that you hear and see highlighted are the byproduct of multiple failures, which you don't see, which are not highlighted. All the failures are stepping stones to that one thing that actually works. So my thing is, you have to try as many times as you can without losing hope, without giving up. Every failure will teach you something. Use that to do your next thing. Don't let it stop you from trying. One of the most amazing things I've been seeing on repeat lately is, if you failed, congratulations. Because most people don't even fucking try. So, next question. What is the top thing in your bucket list? Okay, I love this question. I have quite a few actually, but the one that comes to my mind most clearly right now is a travel goal I've wanted to do forever. To visit Germany and Switzerland during Christmas time. I don't know why, that's just always been in my head as something to do. So I will work towards that. But personal goals and bucket list wise, I have so many things and I do not want to share them because evil eye. Okay, travel wise, this would be a huge one. Even YouTube wise, even social media wise, career wise, there are so many things that I want to achieve. And I think that's also really important, to set big goals. Set big goals because it actually primes your whole nervous system and your environment to take you there. If you don't set goals or intentions, you're not really directing yourself anywhere. It's like stepping out of the house and being like, let the wind take me where I want. No, if you want to go to Candy, you'll put it on like Google Maps, do the needful to get there. If you're like, oh, I don't know, we'll just see what happens, you might just not go anywhere. You'll go around in circles. So goals are important. Set them. I don't care how unrealistic they are. Another thing that I've been thinking about quite deeply is, I don't see anything in my future sometimes. Like, it can be hard to have a goal or have a vision. I always pray, I'm like, God, give me bigger eyes, like expand my mind to see bigger than like the baby little dreams, like being able to buy X or Y, or like give me bigger dream. If I can see it, it'll happen. The problem here is that sometimes we can't have the faith to dream big. We don't have the capacity to see bigger than our sphere. Am I only living for myself? Am I just living for my family? What about, can I be a blessing to my community? Can I be a blessing to my country? Help me to think bigger. That's my prayer. I'm just going to leave that there. take what resonates, okay? Okay, 2 more questions to go. How do you plan, budget, make your itinerary for solo trips? This can seem overwhelming if you are an absolute beginner, but the best way to learn is by doing, okay? We've established that. Try and just for lies, plan something and see. First things first, I would do budget. That is your main thing that's going to determine what kind of an experience you're going to have. Ideally, you would say, this is the amount that I have, and then you accordingly adjust your experiences, like what flight you pick, what accommodation you pick. I'm kind of weird because I do it the other way. I first of all go and check the price of everything. I will go check Skyscanner for flights and I write down the price of the flight. Then I'll be like, okay, visa, how much is that going to cost me? X amount. Then I'll go to booking.com and see the place, the area that I want to stay. What's the nice hotel within like a rough budget of what I can afford? Cool, I write that down. Then I'll be like, okay, what are the things I want to buy? Blah, blah, blah. Cool, I write that down. And how many days do I want to stay? Blah, 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 blah. I write down the price of everything. Let's say I land on like 300,000, roughly. This is assuming it's an overseas trip. Once that's in place, I know how much a freelance job is gonna give me. Example, it is 50,000. It's graphic design, it's X amount. If it's singing, it's X amount. Based on that, I will be like, to afford this trip, I need to do X amount of jobs. And then I will structure the next maybe month or two, because this is not like spontaneous spur of the moment, right? I give time and plan it. So then I'll be like, okay, I need to do X amount of jobs to afford this comfortably without it making a dent in my savings. So let's go. I feel like that method really works, and that's the way that has worked for me consistently. I hate to dip into my savings and pull out from that unless it's like an emergency, like a family member is sick, like I have to do it, and that's what that reserve is there for. But trip fund is completely separate. That shouldn't be making a dent in your savings. Say for my month I have X amount that I want to put into savings, X amount that I want to put into my 6-month rent bank, and then I have leftover. I put that into my trip fund. So there are multiple savings goals going at the same time, and I try to fill everything up simultaneously, if that kind of makes sense. Again, if you guys want a detailed breakdown of how I do that for myself personally, I can share that. So money emoji people, drop it. Yeah, let's get into the last question. What is the meanest thing someone has said or done to you, and how did you get past this? Love the question. Feel like I've had a lot of mean shit said to me, which is sad because I'm not really a person who goes around trying to mess with other people and provoke other people. This has been purely based off of my appearance. A lot of people project, a lot of people will find the way you look funny, and there's nothing you can do about that. I want to share a story, but I don't want this to be like some sympathy pity party shit, because I used to be very victimized about this. So I have lipedema, and as a kid I didn't know why my legs were so huge and like lumpy. My music teacher at the time, God rest her soul, she's not even with us anymore. She said, "Oage kakul deka nikang pol kotang dekak wage balanna ko heti," because I was wearing shorts. I was a kid. I was like, I don't know, 12, 13 in school, and my legs were pretty big then as well. And everyone laughed. This was like at choir practice, and I felt humiliated. It's really okay. It's really okay now, but I was so hurt even as an adult, even up to like couple 2-3 years ago. Now I'm like, you know what, this is my life. And even with my polkotang kakul, I've done so much. I've lived. Yeah, that trumps everything. But I process this. When someone says something like that, you feel shame. I felt shame. I think what hurts the most is that it was true. You know, like she didn't say something that was untrue. It was true. Recently I was watching something and they said the reason why it hurts when people criticize or something is not because they think it's true, it's because you think it's true. And it's so hard to wrap your head around, but it's so true when they say no one can make you feel like crap without your consent. So that made me really dig deep and again wonder what I believe about myself. Do I think other people think I'm ugly? Do I think I'm ugly? And even if I was ugly, does that mean I'm not worthy of love? And these are all questions that can't be answered with a simple yes or no. In a sense, yes, they can, but it takes processing over and over and over again every time this comes up, because it doesn't just come up one time in your life and you deal with it. Period. It's done. It'll come up over and over again. It'll come up with a parent, it'll come up with a lover, it'll come up with friends, or it'll come up when you're on social media and you wish you had someone else's body or whatever, someone else's job, someone else's life. Okay. So constantly processing, constantly reminding, and really finding my self worth and solidifying what I believe about myself. And again, telling myself the best story about myself that I could, reminding myself of the good things about myself, the value that I have. And for me personally, my faith has been a huge player in this game. So to be like Jesus and be like, forgive them, because they didn't know. They didn't know how much that would hurt. They didn't know what they were doing when they said that. And that's also the truth, right? Because sometimes people will say something so hurtful in a passing moment and they'll forget about it, but you lose sleep over it for like the rest of your life. And it's not worth it. Process it in that moment and let it go. The beauty of this that I've learned over time is that you can let stuff go. I always use this analogy. It's like you have a backpack and it's empty, right? And then people say things to you that hurt. And it's like they throw a stone at you to hurt you, intentionally or unintentionally. It hits you, and then you pick it up from the floor and you're like, this hurt me and I'm gonna remember this shit forever. Put it in the backpack. And then you go through life like that, picking up every stone that somebody throws at you and putting it in your backpack. And when you reach a 20, a 30, you're like, why does my back hurt so much? It's because I'm carrying around all of this shit, all of it, every single word. And you play that story over and over in your head like the little victim that you are. I'm not blaming you. I'm just telling you what I used to do, okay? But did you know that you can just put that backpack down? You don't have to carry it forever. This is not a one-time thing, because you might put the backpack down and be like, I've dealt with it. I've forgiven that person. Or maybe I'll never forgive this person, but also for my sake, I'm not going to hold on to hot coals, right? It's like that thing Buddha said, holding on to anger is like you drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. No, it doesn't work like that. When you drink the poison, you die. Put it down, but it'll surface again. Then again, remind yourself, hey, shit, I picked up the backpack again. I need to put this down. And it's hard. Cry about it, process it, but remind yourself who you are. You are not what these people said. You are not what these people did. You have a future and a hope. I always pray for peace, because you can't get it from the natural sometimes. You can't get it even by meditating. Like, you can tap into certain things, but it'll be like a glimpse. And every time I've prayed, sometimes miraculously, God will show you the other person's point of view. And that is supernatural peace. And I've experienced that a couple of times. And honestly, that's priceless. At one point, I stopped doing TikTok because people started bullying me for my body. And not even people locally, like it went into Sudan and all kinds of weird, like some Arabic region, and people started saying shit about my body, and I shrunk myself back. When you have a light to shine, certain canon events will happen to try and dim your light, but the world needs what you have. And I 100% believe only you can present the thing that you're passionate about to the world in the way that you present it. And the world needs that. Only you can reach the people that you know. Imagine if someone said or did something that made you shrink back. The world's not going to be able to receive that. I think that is hugely tied into your purpose. You know, when you know what your purpose is, what is my purpose? I'm going to be vulnerable here. What is my purpose in making YouTube? Yes, it is to share my lifestyle, but it is also because I've been through so much in life. It's like the phoenix rises from the ashes, right? I've had, at a very young age, my life, by my own choices, mind you, burned down to the freaking ground. And from that, with the help of my church and the word, I've managed to rebuild that to a great extent. And it keeps going and life keeps getting better. And I want to share my experience with the world. A lot of the things that I share, how I gained my confidence, and how to let go of things that hurt you, how I built my finances up from zero, how I left my home and everything that I knew, my parents' house, and built a life again from scratch. All of those things I want to share with the world. And it's just by talking about them, I hope someone will be inspired by this and take the torch and make a change in their life. That's really honestly what I want to inspire in other people. Having a purpose is super important. And if you don't know what your purpose is, dig into that. It's going to change your life when you know that you're not just living from day to day, from paycheck to paycheck. Like, you have a mission and you're on a mission. Find your mission. Okay. Wow. I'm such a yapper. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I think I yapped a lot, but I dropped a few nuggets. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave an emoji of a turtle. Turtles are cute. I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for interacting. We're almost at 7,000 subscribers, which is a huge deal for me. It's just starting this YouTube channel in July. See where we can take this. I'd love to hit a 10K before the year is through. We've got 2 more months to go for that. And we'll see if we can make this happen, okay? I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. I will see you on the next one. Bye.